Number 1, build your deck accordingly. Okay, now when I say build your deck accordingly, I mean make sure you have starter cards like health potions or healer tokens to really help your early sustainability. Make sure you get wards quick and try to pick a ward that gives you some extra health, again, for sustainability. And as you progress, spend your first few points on other cards that increase your damage and your health, because remember, you're going to be in a 2v1 most of the time in the off lane. So make sure you're picking up cards that give you good health for sustainability, but also some damage to make sure you can take care of the minions being sent into your tower. Number 2, draft appropriately. Okay, now when I say draft appropriately, I mean you want characters that provide good sustain, who are evasive, and who can really provide your team a good source of split push and sometimes even front line. And offlane is kind of a utility position sometimes. You really need to watch your draft carefully. If you need a heavy frontliner, then you may have to go with more of a tankier offlaner. If you see you already have some decent frontline elsewhere, then you can maybe go with more of an evasive split pusher. But these are all things you have to consider when you're playing the offlane. You really have to draft appropriately. And some great hero examples in the offlane are, of course, Greystone and Wukong, but also Quang and Fang Mao. And really with Greystone and Quang and even Fang Mao, maybe you have more of a frontline offlaner with those type characters, whereas Wukong is definitely more of a split push, evasive type of offlaner. But just some things to consider when you are playing the offlane. Draft appropriately. Number 3, sustain efficiently. Okay guys, now when I say sustaining efficiently, I mean a couple things by that. And one good way to sustain efficiently is sneaking up and taking their gold buff, because you're not going to get a lot of last hits in the off lane, especially early. So steal that gold buff whenever you can. Now, ultimately what I mean by sustaining efficiently is staying alive as long as possible, so you get that XP advantage, and make sure you're standing close enough to your minions to get that XP whenever they kill the other minions. And you can see here that I'm close enough so my XP bar does increase. And when you're in the off lane, remember, you have the opportunity to level up twice as fast as the enemy carry and support, because they're having to split their XP, whereas you aren't. And you can see here this Greystone does a good job of pushing me back, so I'm not near enough to get that bonus XP anymore at this point. And this again is sustaining efficiently. I'm not standing up there risking getting last hits. I'm just going to back off, let the minions come into the tower, because I know they can't take it yet. They're only level 2 and 3, so you know what, the tower can take a little bit. And now I'm getting that extra XP again, because the minions are dying near me, and it's actually giving me a chance to get some last hits as well. So try to just capitalize on the fact that you're getting twice the XP they are by staying alive as long as possible early game. Number 4, know when to walk away. Okay guys, now here's the example of when to just let your tower go. And I'm picking on my friend Center in this one. He's in the off lane with Greystone. You see right here, he busts his ult, and they disengage, but then he tries to go back to the offlane. Now if you look at the minimap, you see they're about to have 2 waves of minions stacked up going into this tower. And look at the tower, like, he's still getting poked by the Murdoch. If you look at the tower is almost gone. He has less than half health, and they have a good push of minions with a siege minion in there. This is when you just want to back away. Let him have the tower. It's 8 minutes into the game. It's okay if it falls at this point. They're gonna get the tower one way or the other. Back away and let him have it. Don't give them a kill on top of the tower, which is exactly what Center did here. And again, just a good example of what not to do. Sorry, Center. Okay guys, here's an example of knowing just when to let your tower go again. And I went to go check on mid lane to make sure he was okay. I knew they already had a good slow push coming in over here. I came over and tried to harass them a little bit, but I stayed out of their reach. I didn't go in the tower to try to defend it, and I stayed in a position where I could get myself out because I knew the tower was going one way or the other. It was at 10 minutes. I wasn't too worried about it. And at that point, you just let them have it, survive, and now you start farming, which is what you see here. And you know what? Sometimes letting that Offlane tower go down is not a bad thing at all, especially once you get to around the 10-minute mark. Let it go down if it's that low. Don't feed them a kill, and then just farm your lane.
Number 5 is lane maintenance, and this one is kind of a big one that covers map awareness, setting your lane, and finishing strong.
Okay, now here's an example of knowing when to kind of collapse with your team and help with ganks. You see my jungler and my mid laner comes over here and starts a gank without them really being that low of health, and it's actually ended up turning into a pretty good play. We had a good solid push of minions going into this tower, and when I see them going in, I know the Greystone doesn't have his ult. Chimera just wrecks him. I'm hitting the tower, but then I notice, you know what, this Sparrow is really weak. I can take a few shots from the tower, slow her down, and let my Gideon get the kill. And no one from the other team rotated. Once I saw this and I saw the tower, I knew, you know what, we can go ahead and take this offlane tower pretty quick, actually, before they took ours. So it's just a good example of some map awareness and when to pay attention to what the rest of your team is doing. And if you see them coming over for a gank, jump in there and help them, and you can make some really good plays happen. Okay, now here's a great example of setting your lane in the off lane to go help your team out with objectives. And this is coming from actually my friend Scotty Too Hottie right now, and I'm actually gonna post a link to his Twitch stream in the description below. This guy has some great Paragon gameplay and Destiny gameplay for anyone who enjoys Destiny. This guy is an excellent player on both games and has a really good stream, so little plug for him there. Check his Twitch stream out at sometime. But you see what he does here? He comes out and sets his lane, but then, because I was running jungle as Chimera in this, and I called to attack Raptors. The carry was in lobby with us and wasn't in a position to be able to get him, but I wanted to go ahead and get him, and he set a really good push in the off lane, and you can see there on the mini-map, their carry and support are busy trying to stop that. Their entire team is nowhere near us, and just a really, really good job of setting the off lane and rotating into the jungle to help take Raptors right after they had spawned. And he was actually able to get back out into his lane before they had even had a chance to push anything up. He actually clears the jungle too real quick before he gets out there. So again, great example of setting your lane before you leave to go do other things. That's a mistake a lot of players make. They'll rotate into an objective or into another tower or into a team fight, and their lane will not be set, and they'll end up paying by losing a tower. So just all around great job here by Scotty. Okay guys, well, this is just the kind of last example of how to finish strong in the off lane. You see we have one of their inhibitors down, and our minions are pushing their core. And now granted, their Greystone is pushing our middle inhibitor, and I believe he gets this here, but we just got Orb Prom, and I had set a slow push in the off lane before he went to Orb, and you see this slow push had worked its way up to their left inhibitor. So yes, granted the Greystone did get our middle inhibitor, but he did pay for it. You see there he died. And now we're just kind of trying to set up the end of the game. And we have Orb Prom, and you see here, I'm just kind of toying with the enemy offlaner here. Not really engaging, even though I have Orb. I'm waiting for my team to be able to push back up that middle lane. But I'm staying here because in this situation, you have Orb. They have one inhibitor down, which means someone is tied up with that. you see the rest of your team is grouped up in mid as they should be with orb, and at this point you're just waiting until the enemy team rotates to mid, and then you really shove the offlane hard, which is what you see here. My team is really getting close to that middle inhibitor. Everyone but their Wukong goes to mid. I'm not sure what he was thinking there. I had orb and he did. But you see here, just my team is really doing a good job of putting pressure in mid. As soon as I see that, I go ahead and clear this wave quickly. And I don't know why the replay is like stuck in slow motion, but it is. Forgive me for that. But you see Wukong just doing what he does best here, just taking out the inhibitor while they're worried about defending mid. They didn't even really realize what was going on at this point. And from here, it's just game, because by the time the enemy team reacted to my push I had on Offlane, that then allowed my team to take their middle inhibitor, and you see we just come in here and finish the core with a strong win. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you found this helpful. If you did, hit that like button, give me a subscribe, and there's going to be more content coming soon. Thanks.